This is Carrie Johnson with the Iowa Department of Management, and this is going to be part one of a six-part webinar series that's going to discuss the Department of Management's property valuation system and provide an overview for submission of the 2022 assessment year valuations. This particular segment, part one, is going to provide an introduction. So it's going to give you an overview of the system itself, access, different parts of the menu, what you can expect to find in different places on the screen, as well as provide a reminder of certain things that need to be taken care of prior to your submission of data. So again, this is a web-based application and it is using, for 2022, we will use the same Department of Management web-based application as before. It is a one portal access for valuations as well as budgets, AFRs, and amendments to budgets. The same type of information as before is uploaded using the same .dat or DAT file from your local software provider as previous years. And again, as in recent years, the application will accept both 5 and 6-digit state tax district numbers, depending on how many numbers your county is using at this point. Again, it is an online system. County auditors have access to the system using an enterprise A&A account ID. So if you're a county auditor and you've had access to the system before in the past, that access should carry forward, as well as county auditors. Staff members that are working in real estate can also access the system. Just simply contact me via email and request that a particular individual needs to access the valuation system, and we can give them that authority. If they don't have an A&A account, obviously they'll have to get one, but we can also provide those pieces of information as well, as far as how to get an enterprise A&A account ID and get set up. So when you work in the system, and we've gone over this before with folks, it just works better if you use the latest version of Google Chrome as your web browser. It was, it's sort of designed to operate best in that particular browser. We don't recommend you use old Internet Explorer versions or outdated versions of any browsers to work in the system. It just may compromise its functionality. So, as in prior years, I will provide a set of instructions via PDF. You can access it within the system. And then when I open up the system, I always include it as an attachment to the email notification that the system is open. Again, it is an online system. So to get into the system itself, you would go to the Department of Management's access point, I guess, for most things county related, that dom.iowa.gov/counties. And that is our county resource page, as we refer to it. And then once you're on that page, down towards the middle, there's a set of blue buttons, and one of them is Submit Valuations, Budget, and AFR. So that is our online portal for all things county related as far as submission goes. So then the next thing to look at, of course, is once you are in the system, what are we taking a look at? So let me just click off my pen here. And we'll go on to the next screen. And this is what it looks like when you log in. Of course, it's that blue screen that you're used to seeing. You input your Enterprise A&A account ID. And once you log in as an auditor, so if you're an auditor role, which everyone that is in the valuation system has an auditor role, it's going to have your name up here at the top when you log in, and it's going to have the access to all the different things you see. At the top part is all the valuation access, and you see it all listed here. If you would scroll down when you're in the system, then you would you would see it be available to you, the AFRs as well as the budgets and valuation reports. But obviously, we're talking about valuations, so we're going to focus on that part of the menu. So, if we talk about the main navigation, um, under the valuation system, under administration, you'll see levy authorities, tax districts, TIF area, TIF revenue, as well as county totals, where you file and unfile data, and then different tools that are available to you via the errors checks and the rollback worksheet, and then of course importing the DAT file. Reminder, as you're in the system here, just keep in mind that we provide to you an option to stay in the system as long as you need to, but you will need to be cognizant of a situation where you have to log in again. It'll give you a warning before it completely kicks you out. It's supposed to give you an hour of time. So it will give you that hour of time, but you'll see a warning to renew, so you can avoid being logged completely out and losing your data. So just keep in mind as you're working in the system, if you see this yellow option come to being, then you want to make sure to, just to log in again or just click that renew button and you should be good to go. So, what we want to do then is go to our first option that we see on the left-hand navigation, and that is levy authorities. Levy authorities are, of course, our taxing authorities that you'd see within your county. And keep in mind that you will only see those levy authorities for which you are the control county. So you may have school districts that are within your county that have taxing districts within your county, but as someone that is not a control county, you won't see them in your levy authority list. So just kind of bear that in mind. Anyway, in the levy authority option, you can only view. There is no opportunity for you as county auditor to edit. So you can view and you can see the taxable value. So if we were to view a levy authority, you'd see its levy authority code, just different information about the levy authority itself, as well as if you were looking at prior years. So if you were looking back at the 2021 data or previous years, you would see the tax rates associated with that particular levy authority. But since obviously we're looking at 2022 and that would be fiscal 24, there are no tax rates set yet. So those would be blank at this point. Again, with levy authorities, you see the green dollar sign, and that's an opportunity to see that levy authority's values. So if you were just wanting to see a brief, view of the total value for that levy authority in your county, you could pull up this page and it would tell you, the value by class, rural and urban, taxable value, I should say. And then it will also provide for you the assigned tax districts for that levy authority. And that's always a good double check if you have a situation where you're not sure if a levy authority is properly assigned to all of its applicable tax districts. This is a good place to go and just double check that. So the next place that you could go on the menu list is the tax districts. And this is simply, numerically the list of tax districts in your county, right? So it's going to provide you each and every tax district. You can, search by name and number to kind of, narrow down if you need to look at a particular tax district, you can certainly do that just by typing in the number. And it's going to tell you the details regarding that tax district. Now, with tax districts, there are different options that you can do, or different actions, I should say. So you can edit it, you can manage associations, and you can delete a tax district. So with tax districts, unlike levy authorities, you as a county auditor can edit those tax districts. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about editing taxing districts and those types of things in a later segment of the webinar. Moving down the menu, the next item is TIF areas. This is, of course, the TIF areas that you have within your county. Urban renewal areas, TIF areas, that type of sort of phrasing is usually used to refer to these parts of your county. So those are listed here, and the segment that talks more about adding TIF areas and working with TIFs in your county will cover this in detail. But if you have TIF areas and you need to, edit the name of a TIF area, add a new tax district to an existing area, delete out an old one, or if you need to add a whole new TIF area or consolidate two areas into one area, one consolidated or combined area, then this is the part of the menu that you would go to. TIF area revenue, moving down on the screen, this is where you would go to see your the all the tax districts that are increment districts within your area and their estimated net consolidated tax rate for the budget year that we're talking about, so fiscal 24. And then after you upload value, of course, you would see the taxable value associated with each and every increment district. And these are the pieces of the formula that's used to calculate the estimated TIF area revenue. So that's if you have TIF in your county, which most folks do, then this is a piece of the puzzle that you need to work with each year and take a look at. County totals, this is just simply for each and every year that's out there. You as a county can go in and look at this summarization of the values in your county. So non-TIF totals by class, 100% and taxable. TIF increment only totals, 100% and taxable, and then of course the sum of the two together. So there are essentially three totals sheets for each county. As a county, you can see your totals, and you can also see an all counties total. And so that would be displayed for those counties that have filed data. So just kind of be aware of that. And of course, you can open it, you can print it, you can download it and have it for your own information. Keep in mind, again, all counties would not be a statewide total until all counties are actually finished and filed their valuation data. So moving down on the left-hand side of the navigation, you can next see the file unfile data. So of course, this is where you go when you are done with your valuation data and you're ready to make it available to the public and to your levy authorities. You would simply go and file data. You can only file data if there are no errors, so keep that in mind as well. But once you file it, then your status would change to filed and your data status would be available to the public. If at any point you need to make edits to valuation that you have filed, you would first, as your first step, come into the system and unfile that data. So that way it's no longer available on the website. So it's unfiled, and people wouldn't be able to pull down your valuation data as you're working on it. Once you're completed, obviously, then you'd want to file your data again and inform any affected levy authorities. The rollback worksheet has some changes for this 2022 valuation year, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in the segment that touches on the rollback worksheet. It functions in a similar manner, but it is a little bit different for a few of the classes of property. Air check, again, functions similarly. Prior to filing data, you must run your errors check. There could be situations where you have warnings. Warnings will not prevent you from filing your data, but errors will. So any sort of red error that you see will prevent you from filing your data. You need to go back to that item and fix that prior to filing your data. Warnings are just sort of a heads up that something could be a problem or maybe not. And in this example, this is probably the most common warning. if you are reporting 0 for your frozen base amount on those TIF districts, that could be correct. It could be just that, you've created the TIF district and it's in a holding pattern, or it could truly have 0 value. It's just a reminder that, take a look at this. Is it supposed to be that way? If not, you do need to update those frozen base values if there actually is a frozen base to report for that particular tax district. So, the last piece sort of on this listing here on our left-hand navigation is importing your DAT file. Pretty simple. This is the file that your software system creates for you. It's a data file, looks kind of like a text file if you were to open it up. Um, and you mostly, file it somewhere on your system, and then you would go to choose file. It'll open up your desktop, and you can go find that file from your software wherever it happens to be located on your machine, and you'd click upload. Reports, when we talk about reports, there's different data out there, but there are valuation reports specifically. And those valuation reports are available to you as county auditor. You see more reports than the public would see. So if you're logged into the system as a county auditor, you'll see a few more reports than what the public does have access to. But this is just a reminder that you can go to that part of the site and you can view different reports that are available to you. You can view them in, it kind of looks like this, but basically that's a CSV file that you can open up in Excel, or as a PDF that's more applicable for printing. So when you print or when you pull up a different report, you can typically select the year. Different reports are available, say by county or by levy authority type. So you'd pick that option. And say in this example where it's a county report, you'd select the applicable entity that you wanted to pull up and push OK. The report is going to hopefully successfully generate, and it's going to tell you that in green, and then it's going to give you a download, and you click on that download word to actually download that report to your downloads file on your machine. Help documents, the valuation instructions are found in there along with other help documents that are available to county auditors, and there's an action button that just provides you with the opportunity to download that set of instructions. So that's an overview of the system itself, just to kind of familiarize you with what the system looks like and the different parts of it so you know where to go as you work in the system. But before actually uploading any data to the system itself, before actually uploading that DAT file that your software creates, there's certain things that you would need to keep in mind and manage prior to trying to upload that data. So before uploading the valuations to the system, you want to make sure that you take care of any needed levy authority changes. You want to make sure that your TIF debt reconciliation process is complete. So that way you know if there's any changes to TIF and what the asking is as far as requested debt service to service those increment districts. You also need to add and delete any taxing districts and create or delete any TIF areas. So let's talk about levy authority changes first. As I mentioned earlier, levy authority changes are not something that you as a county auditor can do yourself. Only DOM can add new levy authorities or make changes to those existing levy authorities, such as deleting a levy authority. If, say, there was a discontinuance and a city has been discontinued, we need to remove it as a taxing entity. Or name changes, and name changes come about primarily with your school mergers and reorganizations, right? So any levy authority changes, those have to be done by Department of Management, and they've got to be done before you try to import data into the system. Now, as far as county-initiated levy authority changes, the one we see the most here are your fire splits in townships. So that's really sort of the most common one. Um, and we can talk about that in just a little bit. But this is just from the instructions, and it's just a list of the levy authorities, examples of different levy authorities that are in existence within the valuation system. So if you're curious of the naming conventions for any of the levy authorities, you can pull those up within the instructions. But again, levy authority changes, examples, a big one is your split townships, right? So you have one township that's being serviced for fire protection by, say, two different cities, and they want to charge two different tax rates. One wants to charge 60 cents and the other one wants to charge 59 cents. So in order to make that happen, we have to sort of physically split those in the valuation system into two different levy authorities with two different tax rates. And it's pretty common if you have that situation come up in your county, you do need to just send me an email, let me know which townships we're splitting and the names that need to be associated, and I'll walk you through the process. There also can be new levy authorities. This is pretty rare, but occasionally you'll have a new levy authority come on the books. Name changes, again, that's really with schools that are reorganized is the most common thing there. And then deletions, and that's primarily, like I said, with discontinuance. And if there are any new levy authorities, they need to be associated with the correct taxing districts. So, as an example, if you have a split township that comes on the books, right, you have to create the levy authority splits. So, one township is now two different levy authorities instead of one, with two different tax rates because they're serviced by two different fire departments. So you have to have two different levy authorities, but you also have to have at a minimum two different tax districts, right? So you have the parcels that are going to be receiving the service and the tax from one fire department, and then the other set of tax districts or tax district that would receive the service from the other fire department and be charged that tax rate. So just keep that in mind if that's a scenario that's going on within your county. And it is pretty common though, and I'm happy to walk you through the process. The next thing that you need to make sure you take care of is your TIF debt certification and reconciliation. Certification of TIF debt is due to the county by December 1. So your cities and within your own county, if your county is a user of TIF, need to certify any new TIF debt to the county by December 1, or any changes to that TIF debt, any sort of communication that needs to be done in regards to the TIF debt that's outstanding and needs to be serviced by TIF revenue. So you're supposed to get that by December 1, according to statute. And then the county is going to complete a TIF reconciliation form and send that out to the TIF authorities as soon as possible after December 1. So that way, those folks know what they should be expecting in TIF revenue for the next fiscal year. And to access those forms, you would go to our county resource page, dum.iowa.gov/counties, and select the TIF reconciliation forms under the forms category. And this is just what it looks like. It's an Excel spreadsheet that you can download onto your system. As a reminder, property valuations are due to the Department of Management and to all levy authorities by January 1. As that is a holiday, it's typically January 2nd, would be the actual due date. And if you have any questions as you're working through the process, need to get someone access, whatever it may be as far as the valuation system goes, please feel free to call me, and my phone number and email address are listed here. Thank you.